So much to get to today, and don't criticize my Carolina Panthers attire. I know this is a Texas report, but hey, this is my team, and I didn't have time to change. So let's get started with Texas. The Texas bill banning foreign adversaries from owning land in our state. The bill is heading to the governor's desk. Let's jump right into it.
Language for Senate Bill 17, sending the long debated measure to Governor Greg Abbott for his signature. The bill, designed to restrict foreign adversaries from acquiring land in Texas, has undergone significant changes since it was first filed, culminating in a version that its supporters say finally closes some key loopholes. Authored by Senator Lois Kolkhorst and carried in the House by Representative Cole Hefner, the legislation prohibits governments, companies, and individuals from countries designated as national security threats, those would be China, Iran, North Korea, and Russia, from acquiring any interest in real property in the state. That includes homes, agricultural land, industrial sites, groundwater, and other critical assets. Now, one of the most controversial components during debate was an amendment offered on the House floor by Representative Matt Shaheen that would have allowed foreign nationals from adversarial nations to purchase land as long as they were lawfully present in the United States. That language was ultimately removed in the final version of the bill that was
Good.
approved by the conference committee, a move that was met with approval from the Republican Party of Texas and grassroots activists who had previously withheld support over that loophole. Another issue that drew sharp criticism was a provision in earlier versions of the bill that would have allowed 99-year lease agreements, arrangements that critics argued would allow foreign entities to exert long-term control over Texas land without technically owning it.
That's just crazy. That's crazy that that was actually in the bill that you could have a 99-year lease in the state of Texas. I mean, you might as well own the dang place. That's wild. I'm glad that was taken out though.
The final version only allows an exemption for leaseholds lasting less than 1 year, effectively eliminating the concern that long-term leasing could be used to bypass the law. Additionally, the bill authorizes the governor to add countries to the list of designated adversaries. If signed into law, as expected, it would mark one of the most sweeping state-level efforts in the nation to restrict foreign land ownership tied to national security threats.
Now, this is a priority for Governor Abbott, and it's about time that they pass this bill, but it's going to face some heavy, it's going to be tied up in the courts, I should say. But here are some lawmakers talking about this.
Today, lawmakers are facing another end of session deadline. Today is the last day for the House to concur with Senate amendments to bills or request conference committees where lawmakers in both chambers can meet behind closed doors to work out their differences. The regular legislative session ends on Monday. Meanwhile, a bill that would ban people from certain countries from owning land in Texas is now heading to Governor Greg Abbott's desk. The House and Senate agreed on changes made to Senate Bill 17. KVU's Daniel Perot is live at the Texas Capitol with more on that. Hey, Daniel.
Ashley, good afternoon. Some state lawmakers say they believe this is the strongest national security bill in the nation. It aims to protect Texas land and natural resources from hostile foreign actors. But critics say they believe it's discriminatory and not constitutional. Senate Bill 17 would restrict ownership to people from countries listed on the Director of National Intelligence's annual threat assessment, which currently names China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea. It stops citizens and businesses from those countries from purchasing Texas real estate. The governor's office has the power to add countries to that list. U.S. citizens, lawful permanent residents, and dual citizens are not affected. Republican State Representative Cole Hefner says Senate Bill 17 makes clear Texas is not for sale.
We cannot, we will not allow oppressive regimes who actively seek to do us harm to seize control and dictate their terms over our economy, our supply chains, our daily lives, our critical infrastructure, or our food supply.
In a statement this afternoon, the ACLU of Texas said it believes the bill violates the First Amendment and the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. They argue for spread racial profiling legally to purchase property. Senate Bill 17 author, Senator Lois Kolkhorst, says the bill is not about where someone is from, but their actions. When signed into law, SB 17 would take effect in September. It would fall to the Attorney General's office to enforce the law through court action. If a district judge finds evidence of an illegal purchase, the owner could be forced to divest or face fines.
Yeah, I don't see it. I mean, there are going to be problems with this bill. It's going to be tied up in the courts, like I said. Florida had this issue. We'll get into that in a second. But I don't have a problem with the state of Texas putting strict harsh restrictions on foreign adversaries, China, Iran, North Korea, entities, that want to do harm to our state and our country. Now, if you're in the country legally, if you're a citizen, that's totally fine. You want to buy land, but I don't think foreign adversaries should be able to buy land here. And China does own some land in Texas. So this bill will definitely face problems. But let's check this out from Texas Tribune. Texas moves close to ban on some land sales to foreigners. After some last-minute negotiations, the Texas legislature has passed a bill that aims to ban people tied to governments of China, North Korea, Russia, and Iran from purchasing land in the state. The bill now goes to the governor, who has already expressed his support. He's going to sign it, there's no doubt. Senate Bill 17 passed despite a federal court ruling that a similar law in Florida was likely beyond the state's authority. It's the second attempt by Senator Kolkhorst, who said in 2023 that the right time to address concerns over foreign entities owning Texas land is before it becomes widespread, something she sees as a way to bolster national security. The latest data available shows that investors from the four countries own a small portion of farmland in Texas and nationally. Chinese investors own about 383,000 total acres of U.S. farmland, about 600 square miles, which is less than 1% of total foreign-held acreage, according to the Department of U.S. Agriculture 2021 land report. I believe that from the very bottom of my heart, we are protecting our land and our minerals. All of these are resources that should never fall into the hands of adversarial nations. What do you think about that? Do you agree with that? Do you think that this will face many problems moving forward? I mean, I think it will. There's no doubt, but I think they're doing the right thing by stopping this from happening, because I don't want China to have access to be anywhere near our military bases or anything like any of our resources, and especially our electrical grid. I do not want anybody to have access to that and do something crazy, an EMP attack. We don't want that. So we'll see how this is going forward. Rep. Cole Hefner, a Republican from Mount Pleasant who carried the bill in the House, said in the news conference, Senate Bill 17 will counter this threat and make Texas a leader in state security. We cannot and will not allow oppressive regimes who actively seek to do harm to seize control and dictate their terms over our country. The state Senate passed a negotiated version of the bill Friday, 25-6, 2 days before the deadline. The House approved it on Thursday, 85-57 last session. Although the Senate passed a similar measure, the House failed to take it up. So I'll move quickly as I have more things to get to. I'll skip ahead. The bill requires that the person having permission to live in the U.S. legally, but also that the property would serve as a primary residence. Those in the United States on work or student visas are also barred from buying a controlling interest in land as a business investment. Yeah, I like this bill. I think more states should adopt this. I think more states should. Let me respond to this comment real quick. So Ohio, they already have land. China has land in Ohio or Iran. All right, so I had to respond to that. Yeah, but I think it's a very good bill. But like I said, we have a coalition of states that are doing this. And I think that'll be good. We'll be able to protect our country from these foreign adversaries. China, I think, is our biggest adversary. Iran is up there, but not as powerful. North Korea, you have crazy man over there. What did Trump call him? I can't remember what Trump called Kim Jong-un, but it was pretty funny how they had that tit for tat, that back and forth. But Trump won that right there. But anyway, so I'm going to move forward to our next story. Jumping Jack Flap, Beto or work. And if I have not seen a more punchable face in my lifetime than this guy, this guy is the most punchable face I've ever seen in my life, is what I'm trying to say. You just look at him, you want to punch him in the face. Look, I'm not advocating for violence, but he just looks like an idiot. All right. This guy got destroyed by Governor Abbott in 2022, and he's hinting at another run after he's been clobbered already in multiple races. He got destroyed in the presidential primary, didn't even make it that far. He started speaking Spanish and all that weird stuff during the debate. Ted Cruz, that was a one-off. He got close, but it wasn't good enough. There was so much hype around this clown throughout the state in 2018, it wasn't even funny. I would get mad every time I see a stupid Beto t-shirt or a sticker on somebody's car. It let me know who the morons are. But if this guy runs again, man, look, he doesn't have to work because his wife is rich. So he can just run for office as many times as he wants to, raise a bunch of money, and lose. He's a career loser.
And let me ask you a question, because I totally hear what you're saying as far as the purpose of what your town halls are. But at the same time, people know you, and you have said at the very first interview you did, you were asked if you were going to run for U.S. Senate. You said no. And then at the Denton rally or town hall, you were asked by a member of the crowd, are you going to run for U.S. Senate? And you said, and let me make sure I get this right, you told the crowd that you would run for U.S. Senate if the people of Texas want. What does that mean?
It means that if I am the right person to run for that seat, if I can do the most good for the people of Texas by actually winning and being able to serve them in that position of public trust, then that's something.
You see how he said by actually winning, because he can't win. He knows that he's lost multiple times in multiple races. So he has to actually win to do something.
I should certainly look at, but I don't know. Well, I do know that I'm nowhere close to understanding the answer to those questions. And I don't think anyone can really, unless they've gone out and listened to and been with and worked alongside the people that they want to serve and represent. And so, Jack, for me, I'm pretty open to any role that's going to be useful. That could be a candidate. It could be continuing to run Powered by People, which is registering hundreds of thousands of voters across the state of Texas. It could be getting behind great people who are running for these really important positions across the state, from school board to U.S. Senate and everything in between. So I just want to be useful and helpful, because this is a real moment of truth for the country. And I don't want to just be sitting around waiting and wondering if someone's going to step up. And for me, stepping up is being out there, being with people.
Stepping up means losing for this guy.
People and bringing them together to take action to get our country back.
And most people who do that, though.
And I don't.
Was that his mugshot back there? I know he had a mugshot back in the day. He did something crazy. Wonder if he keeps a mugshot of himself on his bookshelf.
Want to just be sitting around waiting and wondering if someone's going to step up. And for me, stepping up is being out there, being with people, and bringing them together to take action to get our country back.
And most people who do that, though, do it to run for office, to make a difference.
That's true. But I'll tell you, in 2024, my name was not on the ballot. I didn't run for an office, but I was out there nonetheless. And I was actually doing much the same work that I'm doing right now, holding town halls, showing up on college campuses, supporting candidates, registering people to vote, staying in touch with those newly registered voters to turn them out to vote. So each of us has to find a way to do everything we can with what we have where we are. One of the things that I can bring to the mix is I can pull people together. More than 1,000 people joined us at the Garland Convention Center on a Monday night. And those are folks, some of whom.
One thing he could bring is a losing record. I can't take this guy anymore. I can't stand looking at him. He just irritates the heck out of me. But I'm so glad this clown did not win governorship back in 2022, because you saw the problems that we had. Anybody with eyeballs saw the problems we had with the border under Joe Biden. And we saw what Governor Abbott was doing to fight that with Operation Lone Star, with the razor wire, putting troops at the border, making arrests. We saw how much with the shipping containers as well. We saw how many people got through and how tough of a time Texas had fighting that. We did a great job. We had DPS agents down there making arrests. We passed laws to make things stricter for smugglers and stash houses. So Governor Abbott did as much as he could, but he was constantly fighting Joe Biden with his open borders policy. Now imagine if he had Beto at the helm. It would have been much worse if this guy had won in 2022. I cannot even imagine this guy being up there making speeches, just talking to other governors across the country. He's a laughingstock. He's a joke. He's a clown. Jumpin' Jack Flap is his real name. But I don't know if he's on drugs or something. He's moving around all the time, all crazy. But I am so glad this guy did not win. We dodged a bullet with him. Abbott won by 900,000 votes. It was a huge margin. And I think this guy just stay out of politics. Stay away, stay in your basement, ride your skateboard, whatever he did. Read those books back there. You have a lot of time on your hands. You don't have a job, so he has all the time in the world to read these books. But stay out of politics, man. You are a disaster. All right, so now to a more serious story. The tragic story of Jocelyn Nungaray. A new development in her case. This was a 12-year-old girl who got raped and murdered by illegal aliens. Two of them committed this crime back, last year? But there's been a new development with one of the suspects. Check it out.
Good evening. Thank you for joining me. I'm Anthony Antoine. New evidence is being made public in the Jocelyn Nungaray case only here tonight on Fox. It's been almost a year since this brutal killing shook the nation. And our Fox 26 Abigail Dye has an exclusive interview tonight with the former district attorney, Kim Ogg, who's sharing a shocking development.
So you're saying this isn't the first time that Pena has been accused of rape?
That's correct.
To just know that this happened to another woman, it hurts my heart. Really, a piece of me shatters a little bit.
June 2024, 12-year-old Jocelyn Nungaray's body was found in a bayou on West Rankin Road. Two undocumented Venezuelan nationals, Johan Jose Martinez Rangel and Franklin Jose Pena Ramos, are charged with capital murder, accused of sexually assaulting, then killing Jocelyn. Kim Ogg was the Harris County District Attorney at the time. Her office gathered the evidence they needed to seek the death penalty in the case. And now she's revealing a key piece that helps secure that option.
What we learned during the course of the investigation was that one of the suspects, Pena, had been involved in a prior sexual assault.
She says a victim from another state was attacked while on vacation before Jocelyn's killing.
It happened in Costa Rica. It happened to an American citizen who.
That's wild. That is wild. This guy was in Costa Rica. This Venezuelan guy was in Costa Rica and did the same thing, made his way up to Texas.
Who came forward with that information after their pictures were shown on national television.
I'm very glad that this young woman had the courage to come forward.
That evidence specifically helped you make this determination for seeking death.
I believe it helped the entire committee make the determination.
Is this information that you had ever known, or is this new to you too?
This is definitely news to me. I always felt in my heart that this was never their first time, especially Pena.
Why are you sharing this now?
Because I am very concerned about the decisions that my successor district attorney has been making. When she reported it to the authorities in Costa Rica, they did nothing. And so imagine the frustration of that individual. I do not want that to be swept under the carpet. I think it's important for the public to get the final say. Do they deserve death for the rape and murder of Jocelyn, or should they?
What do you think? Do they deserve the death penalty for this heinous crime?
They spend their life in the penitentiary. What I don't want is some backdoor deal done in the quiet of the night and a long time from now, once people have forgotten the horror of this case.
I see this as a reoffender scenario, and because he wasn't held accountable for his actions when he did this to this other young woman, he should be held accountable for this young child whose life was taken.
Now, I did reach out to the district attorney and their current administration, and I asked them if they have any response or comment to what Kim Ogg said, but they declined to comment on this.
All right, the DA, Sean Tier, see if that changes moving forward. Okay, but let's put this in context. That information that Kim shared with you, that is really the game changer that's going to change this case here.
I mean, it's huge. This is one of the big pieces of information that made her administration able to seek the death penalty in this case. You know, since these guys are Venezuelan nationals, there's really no way for investigators to figure out their criminal background. It's really hard to get that information. And so something like this, a victim, an American victim, coming forward to the DA's office saying that she was raped in another country by this man, it secured that death penalty option for them.
So you're having this conversation with Kim Ogg and she's sharing this information with you. Kind of walk me through like your thought process as a reporter. You know how when you get a piece of information like that, you're like, wait.
Shocking.
Did I hear that correctly?
Shocking. I was interviewing her really about Jocelyn Nungaray, but not this subject. And when she said that, I couldn't believe it. I asked her, I was like, oh, we're on record right now. Are you sure about this? And she wanted this information out there. She wants to make sure that this case goes to trial. It's not pled out. And that was her reasoning for sharing this right now.
Abigail Dye has been working on this story for quite some time. We're actually working on a special for Jocelyn and her family. So it's going to come out in a couple of days. You can also head and download Fox.
So that would be good to watch a special on Jocelyn. I think that would be very good. I want to see more about the case. Oops. Don't want this to play. All right. I think that
Texas Democrats have killed
Before we go to this law that didn't pass here in Texas, that was one of the most, oh man, they got caught stealing Pokemon cards. And they got 47 years for that. So if you get 47 years for stealing Pokemon cards, you should get a whole lot worse for doing this to Jocelyn Nungaray. Man, I don't think you should get 47 years for stealing Pokemon cards. Maybe get a fine or something. Be banned from the store. But how much did they steal? Was it like a whole stack, the whole truckload worth? But that's crazy. All right, so let's go to this. Oh yeah, real quick. That situation with Jocelyn Nungaray was one of the most horrific things I've heard in my life. And it was one of the headlines that grabbed a ton of attention across America as far as illegal aliens coming over here and killing and raping women or young girls. It's one of the biggest stories. And we've seen multiple stories like this. Multiple. I'm very thankful that we voted in Donald Trump and we saved this country, at least for the next 4 years from that situation. It's not over yet because we saw what happened here in Texas last week, or was it Sunday? So this week with the lake situation. Terrible. We've seen too many stories like that. But this is Jocelyn's law, which failed to pass thanks to Texas Democrats.
Jocelyn's law. It's May 29th, 2025, and these are your headlines. 2 high-profile bail reform measures collapsed in the Texas House yesterday as lawmakers failed to advance some proposed constitutional amendments before a key legislative deadline, despite reported last-minute pressure from Governor Abbott. Now, Senate Joint Resolution 87, which was amended to be called Jocelyn's Law, fell short on a third reading vote, receiving 97 votes in favor and 40 against. But get this, they need 2/3. So that was 3 votes shy of a 2/3 supermajority needed to send a constitutional amendment to voters. There's 150 members. They needed 100 votes. On Wednesday, lawmakers failed to reconsider the measure, leaving it effectively dead for the session. The resolution, named after 12-year-old Jocelyn Nungaray, who was brutally murdered in Houston last year, would have required judges to deny bail to individuals accused of violent felonies if they had been previously convicted of or were out on bail for similar offenses. Meanwhile, Senate Joint Resolution 1, a separate resolution that would have denied bail to illegal aliens accused of certain violent crimes, also failed last night, receiving only 87 votes in favor and 39 against, well below the 100 votes required. Like SJR 87, it also was called Jocelyn's Law. And the only major bail-related resolution to successfully clear the chamber this session was Senate Joint Resolution 5, which gives judges the discretion to deny bail to individuals accused of violent felonies if there is clear and convincing evidence that they pose a danger to public safety or a flight risk. While that measure passed earlier this month, it remains unclear whether it will satisfy Governor Abbott's demand for stronger bail reform measures. Reportedly, Governor Abbott had been in contact with lawmakers throughout the week, encouraging Democrats to support the legislation ahead of the final vote. But without a motion to reconsider and with the House's constitutional amendment deadline now passed, both SJR 87 and SJR 1 are officially dead for the session. The failure of the measures now raises the question of whether Governor Abbott will call a special session to revive the effort and push the proposals forward.
Yeah.
Legislation to hold manufacturers liable for advertising harmful vaccines.
Okay. I think that Governor Abbott should call it a special legislative session to get bail reform passed. There's no reason why it should have failed, why that measure should have failed. I don't know why. 3 votes? We needed just 100 votes out of 150, and we fell 3 votes short off of that. It's ridiculous. There is a big problem in Houston, in Harris County, with people getting out on bail and committing more crimes. If you have clear and convincing evidence against somebody, or if they're reoffended and they're accused of doing something again, they should not be let out of jail until we get to the bottom of it. I don't think there's any reason why people should be opposed to this. I mean, they have their reasons, but I'm a law and order guy, for those of you who know me, and I want criminals locked up. I want criminals to be away from the public and don't want them to commit any more heinous crimes. We've seen it far too many times in Houston and other places in Texas. I don't live in Houston, but I'm just saying it happens a lot in this state. People get out and they reoffend. They keep reoffending. It's ridiculous. It shouldn't happen. But let's check this out. This happened in Houston. This is from ICE. 15 suspected gang members indicted for a drug trafficking scheme. Look at these thugs right here. Look at all these tattoos. That looks like a pretty decent neighborhood. The big house, brick house, 2-story. Looks like a Chrysler 300 or something. But these people are in the neighborhood. That is wild. These people are inside of your neighborhoods. Let's read this story real quick. A 29-count indictment was unsealed, May 22nd, following the arrest of 9 individuals for their alleged roles in a drug trafficking scheme that delivered illicit narcotics using a taco truck and U.S. mail. Oh my gosh. The investigation that led to the incidents was conducted by ICE, Homeland Security Investigations, Houston, and the Houston Police Department, with the assistance of the FBI, federal, the ATF, and Texas Board of Criminal Justice, Office of the Inspector General. Houston residents James Michael Brewer, aka Creeper, 33 years old, Jonathan Alvarado, aka Joker. If you have a nickname Joker, yeah, you have tattoos on your face, Alexis Delgado, aka Chino. Okay, these are all gang banging nicknames: Creeper, Joker, Chino, Caputo. Junior, Mexi. I'm not hanging out with anybody whose nickname is Joker, and you have tattoos on your forehead, on your head with 13 or whatever. Also charged are Enzo Javier Dominguez, aka Smiley. Oh, that's like the guy from Training Day. Did you watch Training Day? All right, I'm reading this comment here. As a Reform X comment, I can honestly say that 90% of everyone, and I mean everyone I was locked up with, Creeper, I was locked up with has no business being allowed in society. There's no hope. See, that's the thing. There are people like Smiley here and Creeper and Joker. They don't need to be out with the public. They don't. So thanks for your comment, King Yeti. I appreciate that insight. It's good to hear from people who have experience with certain things and they can speak on it themselves. That they know firsthand these people don't need to be out in society. Keep them locked away. Rodney Reed was falsely charged with rape of a cop's GF, but the whole city knew she was cheating on the cop, and Yvette Smith was shot by a cop and they lied about the shooting. Okay. I didn't hear about that story. Huh. When did this happen? So what's the worst nickname? Okay, you say Creeper. Fredo, Miklo. I think Joker. Okay, Creeper, that's who want to be called Creeper? Is it like, are you, people might think of it. The first thing I think of is like a pedophile or something, or a creepy guy, a pervert. Yeah, Creeper might be worse than Joker. Paco. Okay, here's another one. 3 individuals who were allegedly involved in the scheme are considered fugitives and warrants remain outstanding for their arrest. Mexican national Jose Francisco Garcia Martinez, aka Paco, a Guatemalan national Marcos Rene Samaj Gooch, aka Taco Man, okay, and Jose Eduardo Morales, aka Primo, 22 years old. So we have Taco Man, Paco, Smiley, and Joker. That's crazy stuff right there. For years, a transnational criminal organization allegedly operated by these gang members, has brazenly flooded our local communities with deadly narcotics, said ICE HSI Houston Special Agent in charge Chad Plants, working in conjunction with the Houston Police Department and our Organized Crime Drug Enforcement Task Force's partners. We were able to expose and dismantle their drug trafficking scheme, eliminating a significant contributor to violent crime in the area and saving an untold number of Houstonians from becoming addicted. As alleged, this drug trafficking organization imported methamphetamine directly from Mexico and used U.S. mail, a taco truck, and homes in different Houston neighborhoods to distribute and sell methamphetamine and other dangerous drugs. Several of the defendants are also alleged to have used firearms, in furtherance of their narcotics trafficking and illegally possessed firearms despite having previously been convicted of felonies. See? The criminal division, along with our federal, state, and local partners, will continue to work tirelessly to combat the scourge of drug trafficking in communities. All right, I'm a little short on time. Let's see, so I will wrap this story up and I'll move on to the next one. But that's crazy. Smiley and Joker, that's stuff you see from the movies. Training Day had that guy Smiley. They look like some hardcore gangbangers in that movie. Training Day is a phenomenal movie. If you haven't seen it, I'm sure most of you have. But I think I might watch it again pretty soon because that is a classic. That part with Denzel, when he was the King Kong part, man, that was. I think he did it off the cuff too. Off the cusp, it was freestyled, I believe. Kind of like this video, just freestyling it. All right, this is one story that I touched on a while back, a couple of months ago, maybe. Let me see if there are any comments here. Oh, okay. I was wondering about that. Okay, I was wondering if that's okay. I'm glad you told me that because I was curious. Let me show this comment. Train day. Okay, I was curious about that because they look like they're pretty hardcore. And that movie was extremely believable. I mean, I think it's one of the greatest movies of all time. Might be my personal favorite. A couple others in there, but Train Day is right at the top. Cholo attached to getting 25-cent machines. Taco Man must be fat. He might be. Little homie's gang. Man, these people, get these people out of here. Like I said, I'm so glad we won 2024. All right, anti-squatter bill head to Governor Abbott's desk to make it easier for landlords to evict tenants.
Heading to Governor Abbott's desk that supporters say makes it easier to deal with squatters. Well, opponents say it could make it easier for landlords to evict tenants.
Not surprisingly, the bill has the support of landlord groups.
Okay, back to Train Day real quick. Respond to these comments. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, look, I think they actually did. Yeah, they went to the jungle. Those did look like real bloods. A lot of them did. And then Train Day, I mean the Hispanic part of town, the guys in the background look pretty scary. But I know the one guy with the bald head, he's been in some other movies as well. And I think I've seen him on a TV show. He's played different roles. I've seen him as a cop or something. So it was weird to see him go from gangbanger to being a cop. I thought it was funny, but he plays the role very well. Yeah, but okay. I figured the ones in the black neighborhood, I figured those were real gangbangers in the jungle because they actually went to that neighborhood. And then, yeah, the background guys on the Hispanic side, they look pretty rough. Yeah.
Groups, but is facing opposition from tenants' rights groups. ABC 13 reporter Pooja Lodi is live with what this means for you. Pooja.
I did a story a long time ago, and she said something that just didn't make sense. I don't remember what it was. I was giving her a hard time, but good to see you again, Pooja.
You know, this bill has been amended over and over and over again. So the current version actually doesn't have a lot of the big
Pooja Lodia. I'll say her name correctly this time.
Controversial changes.
Well, in the meantime,
in the original version of this bill. But listen, we're talking about housing, one of the most important things in any of our lives. So even small, big impact.
Ms. Prather, I'm Maya from Channel 13. Can I ask you why you've been squatting that house?
For years now, ABC 13 has been covering instances of squatters refusing to leave properties. It's these cases that supporters say Senate Bill 38 is about. The bill would relax rules like how landlords must serve notice when evicting tenants, and also allows landlords more options of courts to file eviction cases in. Opponents of this bill, including the Houston Tenants Union, say the bill takes away some protections from tenants who already have fewer protections in Texas than in multiple other states. But groups like the Texas Apartment Association say the bill simply makes the eviction process more efficient by clarifying timelines and procedures.
It stands to have the most profound impact on small landlords. Or incidental landlords. And what I mean by that, you think about people who either inherit property that they now end up having to rent out while they figure out what they ultimately are going to do. You also think about the, incidental landlords where they bought their first home, took on a job out of town. They kept the home with the plan of returning to Houston, but they wound up becoming a landlord because when they came back, they now had a family.
And when it comes to these squatting cases, there's very little publicly available data to really define what that means and the impact of what that has on tenants and landlords. Reporting live, Pooja Lodia, ABC 13.
Pucha. I don't know. Was it Pucha or Puja? I don't know. Anyway. How long ago did you live in Houston? I've heard mixed things about Houston. I've heard that I've heard it's gone downhill. I've only been there a couple of times. Okay, you're on your home for 7 years. Congrats to you on that. Acre in Nowhereville. Hey, there's nothing. You're out there away from society. That's good. You know, them not. You know, you don't have to deal with all the traffic and all that nonsense that we have in DFW. I wouldn't mind having a couple of acres and being, out into a little bit outskirts of the Metroplex. I know a couple of areas that do have that, but it's also the convenience factor of being. Look, I don't like big cities. That's why I don't live in Dallas and never will live in Dallas. But I like suburbs better. They offer convenience and they're away from all the nonsense, largely. But Houston, I've heard a lot of mixed things about. I get a lot of my stories from Houston because there's so much going on. And you have your good parts and your bad parts, obviously. Only go to the city for groceries and what country life for me. Northwest Houston. Okay. Yeah, I've heard Houston's gone downhill. And I see that's my thing is I'm so used to living in an urban environment. And we have everything. You have movie theaters, you have grocery stores right here. You have all the entertainment you need and want. But then sometimes you want to get away. You want to be near or you want to be around nothing. You want to deal with people. So you have to find the happy medium. There are pros and cons to both. So yeah. But back to Houston. Okay, Houston is all bad with nice ass homes. Wow. Okay, so it's a mix. Houston's a mix of nice homes and then a mix of project ass neighborhoods. And I saw that guy got on that picture. That guy was arrested right here. Let's see if we can find it real quick. I mean, you have this gang banging. Was that Smiley? Who is that? Is that Chico, or is that might be the Taco Man? That might be the Taco Man right there. Let's call him Taco Man. So Taco Man got arrested in Houston. Hold on, I'm sorry. All right, here he is. I'm sorry, I wasn't sharing that screen, but here's Taco Man. I think we found out who Taco Man is. But he was arrested in Houston, which looks like a nice neighborhood where he got arrested. Houston, like Cali, don't let the scenery fool you. You'll get hit anytime. Oh wow, okay. Yeah, I don't want to go to Houston just because of all the things I hear about it. And I've actually drove through there one time, and I stopped at the gas station, and it just looked run down. I know a lot of cities have run down parts, but there's a lot of problems with. They have Colony Ridge right there. It's easy access from the border, and I believe there's still a police shortage going on in Houston. And then you had these district attorneys in Harris County who were not prosecuting crimes the way they should have been. They weren't tough on crime like they are in Tarrant County. And we need to make more of our counties in Texas like Tarrant. Tarrant is the best place to live. If the big counties in Texas, Tarrant is number one, in my opinion. We have a great district attorney. We have a county judge who's great. We have a mayor. Well, sorry, the mayor is in Fort Worth. Fort Worth has its own set of problems, but Tarrant County as a whole, I don't live in Fort Worth, but Tarrant County as a whole, I think it's phenomenal. I think they have a lot of great police departments in Tarrant County, and it's primarily red. You have a lot of the Democrats to live here, but It's a mostly red county. It's big too. That's what they're trying to take over. That's why you have these George Soros and all these different organizations and the media going after Tarrant County, Democrats going after Tarrant County, because they know if they take Tarrant County, then Texas is gone. Or it'll be tough. But actually, the rural areas really do drive up the number. The numbers in the rural areas are like 80-20, 70-30 Republican. And of course, if Texas can keep it with 65-35 split at the minimum, mostly, the big cities are obviously more Democrat, more liberal, and less conservative, but you don't want it to be where it's like Los Angeles or San Francisco or New York City, where it's 85-15 or 80-20. You can keep it about 35%, 40% Republican, then you have a good chance of never going blue. We have to fix the Texas House because there are a lot of problems here. In the Texas House, down in Austin, they are going, even though we elect Republicans to go there, there are a lot of rhinos who are doing work to turn Texas blue. So please, please keep that in mind. If you're in Texas, you have to do your research. You have to primary these people. There are some good ones. Some progress has been made, but there is a lot of nonsense in our Texas House, which I heard is worse than DC. I heard Austin, the swamp in Austin is worse than the swamp in DC, is what I heard. But what do I know? I'm just a guy making videos. All right, I'm going to cut the stream. I appreciate all the comments. This was a fun conversation. Talking about Smiley. People in Houston think because you ain't racist, that means you vote Democrat, even though I don't agree with any other. Yeah, that's a good point right there. Regina, you missed a fantastic show. This has been a lot of fun. You have to go back and watch this. This has been a lot of fun. Everybody check out West Virginia Wire. She is my friend from West Virginia. She's also from Texas. She lived here a long time ago in West Texas. She does great work. She does a lot of West Virginia news. She touches on, okay, you're going to watch it. This was a great live stream. A lot of fun, a lot of interaction. I appreciate all the comments. But yeah, my friend, check out my friend Regina from West Virginia. We do some collaborations. We'll be collabing soon. I've been pretty busy lately, but we'll get back to that. Okay. Yep. She's from Texas. Say less. Yes, so check her out. Subscribe to her channel. Watch her videos. They have some weird. Some of the videos that Regina has made recently with the water bottle thing, the camera inside the water bottle, is some weird stuff that happens. That was in West Virginia, right? But either way, they have some weirdos up there in West Virginia, just like we have weirdos here in Texas. And Regina, look at my outfit. Do you appreciate this? North Carolina. I know your husband's from there. They have some weird ass laws. Yeah, okay. A lot of creeps in West. Well, I mean, I think a lot of creeps everywhere, but yeah, I think West Virginia has some for sure. Texas, we have a lot of. Texas is the big state. We have 30 million people. You know, it's my outfit. I will get to my outfit. I'm a Panthers fan. I'm not a Dallas Cowboys fan just because I live in DFW. I never liked the Cowboys. Panthers suck, but we're making great strides. Okay, you just subscribed to Regina. Fantastic. Barbecue. Ooh, what are you making? Brisket, ribs? Fly Eagles. What are you drinking? Some beer? You know what? You cannot look. Okay, yeah. Whew. Hopefully make some brisket. You have some brisket with some good red wine. Bills, okay. Bills fan. The Bills did. Oh my goodness, tequila and ribs. Oh, don't get me started. I was an Oilers fan until the franchise moved. Do you like the Bills? The Bills did pretty good. I think they went to the third round. They almost went to the Super Bowl. Yeah, but I'm wearing this because I had to run somewhere. I couldn't wear my Ultra Texans. So I had to run somewhere. And I put on my Panthers gear, and I came back and did the live stream. But I'm excited about the season coming up because I'm going to be buying more Panthers gear. We went 5-12 last season, up from 2-17 from the season before, so we're making improvements. Bills are my stepdad's team, so Bills lost as champion. I'm tired of the Chiefs. I'm honestly tired of seeing the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. My second team are the Philadelphia Eagles. That's my second favorite team. And a lot of people don't like that because it's very controversial here in Texas. Anyway, my mom and Dallas go right. Okay. So your mom was a Dallas fan. Yeah, Dallas. Thank you. Thank you, Regina. I appreciate the comment. I wish you could have been here from the get-go. We had some great stories. Beto, I know we talked about Beto before. He's hinting at a run. Hopefully he doesn't run. Hopefully Beto doesn't come back. Beto was trash. But everybody, good luck to you. You were 7, okay. Oh my. Dallas was the first place. Okay, 1989. Okay, so you're born in 1982. Okay, so you're 43? I was born in 1988, so you're not that much older than me. Huh. Interesting. So ever since then, you've called Dallas and San Francisco of the South because of that situation. I don't know. I mean, maybe. I know you had a unique experience, but I'm sorry you had to see that. That they have on Dallas Cowboys jerseys. Have a good day, all late party. Yeah, I was born in 1988. Just like that's why I got on the. Thank you. A lot of people think I'm 27, but I'm closer to 40. Thank you very much, Regina, for that. Atlanta, yes. Atlanta, yes. Atlanta, yes. 80s all the way. Look at that. Another 1988 person here. Look, okay. High five, virtual high five from 1988. Look, I think the 90s, kids born in the 80s experienced the 90s like nobody else did. 90s was off the chain. We had the best cartoons, we had the best toys, the best video games, and we didn't have all this technology that we have now. We was that sweet spot of you had technology, the internet was really getting going. You didn't have people buried into their. Oh, I've been on this team for a long time. Yeah, exactly. We sat outside. I used to ride my bike through the neighborhood with a group of friends. It was so much fun. The 80s, okay. So you were born in the early 80s, so you got to see a little bit more. You got to have the best of both worlds. You grew up as a kid in the 80s and you were a teen and a kid in the 90s, so that's good. Bike gangs, yep. There's about 10 of us riding through the neighborhood. I even put a flashlight on my bike. It's like to ride around the evening time. Man, I miss those days. 90s were the best. Being born in the 80s and then growing up in the 90s watching Nickelodeon, Nick at Night. No, not Nick at Night. Snick. Saturday Night Nick was the best. You can still find some of those shows on streaming, like Are You Afraid of the Dark? All of those shows. That was a creepy show. The intro was creepy as hell. I remember putting a can on my bike for the sound. Okay, yeah. I remember people would do that. Some people would put a different thing like a card, playing cards on there. You left here in the ditch. It was mine. They wanted it back today. Oh, my bike got stolen as a kid inside my house in California, and my grandma. I went somewhere, and my grandma saw my bike was stolen, and I was all distraught about it. Oh, Tales from the Crypt. Yeah, Tales from the Crypt was crazy. That guy was creepy. Yeah, my grandma bought me a new bike the same night. It was silver. It was a Magnum. Oh, Magna? I think that's the brand, Magna. I put pegs on it. Spider-Man in the 1990s was tough. Yeah. I'm Batman. I'm a Batman guy all the way, though. The 90s had some good movies. The 90s had Jurassic Park, Mission Impossible. I can go on and on about 90s movies. Oh, Mongoose Bikes. Yes, yes. Earthworm Jim. Man. Earthworm Jim was off the chain. Mongoose Bikes. I used to want a Mongoose bike because they had one at Toys R Us that had the 4 pegs on it. You could buy it like that. But it was like $150. And I just love my little Magnum bike. It wasn't as Inspector Gadget. Yep. We could go on about this all day long. We could talk about 90s all day long. 90s stuff. I'm still stuck in the 90s. My mind is still stuck in the 90s. Yeah, Goonies was good. I know a lot of people like that, but I thought it was okay. Oh, snap. Earthworm Jim has a YouTube channel? We need to check that out. Friday the 13th. I'm like my favorite horror guy is Friday the 13th. I didn't like the first one too much, but the second one was decent. Freddy Krueger. Okay, so I think that was in the 80s when that came out. I think it was 1985 or something. I didn't see it until the late 2000s. Somebody let me borrow it. Theaters. Okay. I think my first theater movie I remember seeing was Jurassic Park, 1993. Got better with special effects. Okay, yeah, makes sense. Freddy Krueger. Freddy Krueger, the first one was the best one. And then, let's see, Freddy Krueger was good. I'm still a Leprechaun guy. Leprechaun. Every March, okay, please they play Leprechaun, but I have all Leprechaun movies on Blu-ray. Years old, maybe basically watch black and white Dang, Dracula. Yeah, I'm a big Leprechaun fan. Chucky as well. Child's Play 3 is the best one. It's underrated. Huh. Oh my gosh. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 2003 with Jessica Biel was pretty good. Jessica Biel, yeah. Being scared of the killer doll, Chucky. Then Toy Story came out. I thought I remember when Toy Story came out. Yes. My mother, I don't even know what to say about her. Love your mother. Yeah, Toy Story, classic. Child's Play 3 is the best one. Okay, part 2 is really good. I think 3 is the best. I love part 3. Give me 1 second. Oh, shit. Okay, Child's Play 2. VHS. I had nightmares for weeks. Okay, yeah, 3 is the best one. Look, I'll be here until 5 o'clock talking about 90s. Yeah, okay, good. Okay, so we're in agreement that part 3 is the best. We're in agreement with that. I actually watch it at least once a year now, but I've seen it. I'm not kidding. I've seen it about 45, 50 times. And Leprechaun, yeah, part 2 is good. Leprechaun 1 we should have a next time I'll do a live stream. We'll talk about more of this 90s stuff and the 80s and all that music. Don't get me started on the 90s music. Very nostalgic. Okay, Leprechaun 1, Child's Play 3. 2 of the top 10 movies of all time. Makes text movie trivia. That would be interesting. Something different. Or just come on here and just talk about. We'll look at that. Something different for our viewers, for the subscribers, and Okay. Talk about Christmas movies and all that. Christmas time. I have a list. Okay, I'm going to be here for 10 years talking about this because I have so much to say about the holiday movies. The best. All right, we should do the best holiday movies, the best horror movies. The fall coming up. We scared of Pumpkinhead. Interesting. Okay, that could be a lot of fun. We could do something outside of politics to take our minds off of the craziness of the world, the craziness of the United States with the border. We have Trump back in office, so everything's getting better. But we'll do something a little bit different. Anybody can watch and join, but if it's some liberal nut job, they're not going to like us because once they see what we really talk about, they won't be. Oh, prizes like what? I'll send a penny to their doorstep. You get 1 penny if you win. Oh, or you get a mixed Texan hat. No, I don't know. All right. Well, that'll be fun. We'll talk about that. See, we're scared of Pumpkinhead, huh? All right. Half baked. Okay, half baked. I think I watched. Is that the one with Dave Chappelle? Oh, I Know What You Did Last Summer is coming out this summer. A new one with Jennifer Love Hewitt, my ex-wife. No longer with her because, look, it didn't work out between Jennifer Love Hewitt and myself. Okay. Yeah, I Know What You Did last summer. All men think like husbands. Oh, okay. Yeah, Half Baked. I need to watch that again. American Pie 2 was the best one out of all the American Pies. Starring P. Diddy. Oh my gosh. They need to make a movie out of the whole situation. They need to. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I forgot the comment section lags. Okay. But look, I have to run. I have a few things to do. This was a lot of fun. So yeah, Regina, we'll get together. We'll do something fun for the viewers, for the movies and all that. And if you have time, everybody go and watch. No, Britney Spears. Yeah, that was crazy. All right, I'm going to say Leprechaun 1, Child's Play 3, 2 of the top 10 movies of all time, as well as Training Day. Run, remember, blah, blah. All right, thank you, everybody. This was a lot of fun. I will see you next time. I should be able to do a live stream next Saturday, June 7th. Of course, you're welcome. Hopefully you get some subscribers off of this and some more viewers. I'm glad you're able to tune in. Go back and watch this whole thing. It was a lot of fun. I gave a lot of great news. But I should be back next Saturday on the live stream. I'll try to do this twice a month, at the minimum, twice a month. Then eventually we'll go to 3, then we'll go to 4. June 7th. Yes, indeed. I had to take a couple of weeks off from the live streams. So now I'm back. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Spent a lot of time on here, a lot of great comments. Thank you, everybody. And those of you who are curious, if you just tuned in, I'm wearing the pants. I know this is a Texas live stream, but I'm wearing this because I was coming back from somewhere. didn't really feel like changing, so I'm representing for the Carolina Panthers. Other Panthers fans across Texas. So thank you so much, everybody. Subscribe. See you next Saturday. And have a great weekend. Enjoy that barbecue, sir. The ribs and tequila. Enjoy the ribs and tequila. Tony, who? Okay. Tony Linez. All right. I'll check that out. So I'll see you next weekend if you want to. Come back and we'll have some more fun. All right. I've got to go.